Well, if you make your way through the Parklands Gallery, down from the Nice Women Don't Want the Vote, you're going to find two new permanent exhibits here at the museum. We Are All Treaty People and the Berens Family Collection. Dr. Maureen Matthews, you kind of headed up these two exhibits. Let's start with We Are All Treaty People. Tell us about this exhibit here.
Well, the importance of this exhibit is that it is really the first time in this museum or anywhere that I know of that we've had all of the medals for all of the treaties in Manitoba. And so if you look, there are 8 medals. Every bit of Manitoba is covered by one of these treaties. Where you're standing is sure to be connected to one of those medals.
And this is the first time that you guys have had all 8 medals here. I know there was a temporary exhibit, you had 5 medals. Talk about the process of collecting all those medals and getting them here.
It was actually in the process of authenticating a photograph that we have of one of the people who signed treaty that one of the antique dealers I went to said, yeah, you're right about the photo, it's, it's authentic and so on. I have a few medals. And he had the ones that we didn't have. And he agreed to loan them to us. It is an incredibly generous offer, and it made this set complete. And there's something wonderful about sets, but it's all there.
Tell us more about that photo, because just off camera you're telling us this one might be one of the oldest things you have in this museum, which for a museum, that's pretty incredible. Talk about that photo.
Well, the photograph was taken of Chief Gagege Benet. His name is William Mann as well, and it was taken about the time of the treaty signing. So that was signed in 1871. He signed on behalf of Saugeen, and that's the very first treaty that was signed in Manitoba, or on the prairie actually. And so that photograph, the print of it, has been in the family ever since. They brought it to us about 3 months before this exhibit was finalized. But it's a treasure that they've held on to all that time. And it's, as an old photograph, it's pretty special. And we are actually looking into getting it especially conserved because of that. But the museum collections tend to be over, sort of 1910, 1920, that's when the bulk of our things came in. So anything older than 1900, it's significant.
I know you worked really closely with Indigenous groups in putting this We Are All Treaty People exhibit together, because there are some things that are on display that are sacred artifacts that aren't normally displayed in museums. Can you talk about that relationship and choosing to display those items?
The question was how to represent Aboriginal agency in treaty making. One of the reasons that Native people now want us to look again at the treaties is that was a moment when it was a genuine negotiation. Native people were genuinely in a position to say, no, that's not good enough, we'll have it a little bit better. In order to really make the point that Native people were actively engaged in the process and had some purchase on the whole thing, we wanted to show the way that they promised that they would keep their side of things and that what they understood of it. So the pipes that are on exhibit here are pipes that illustrate the idea that Native people thought these treaties were a promise made in the eyes of gods. Not just pieces of paper, not a contract, but a promise between people who were declaring themselves to be a kind of family at that point. And so now when you look at this exhibit, these medals are nice and they're there and everything, but the pipes and the pipe bags that go with them are just overwhelmingly beautiful. And you realize that the pipe bags were gifts given at the time, that the people who made these things were not in any sense on their knees. They were giving generous gifts to, hapless white people who happen to be here. and it's a moment that Native people now would like to go back to, which was a respectful relationship. And for me, the important thing about historical exhibits is that they matter in the present.
So much to learn. Again, that's the Berens Family Collection, and We Are All Treaty People here. Permanent collections at the museum. Thank you, Dr. Maureen Matthews.
You're welcome.